I'm here. Sorry. I had some little issues with getting online. I don't know why. I've been online all day, not had any problems. Get ready to go live, and like everything goes wrong. I get a cat with some muddy paw prints on my shirt, so I had to change like right quick. It's great. Oh, and I just got to say this. If you are tuning in from the Developing Empath, let me tell you how you come up in the chat, because I made the Developing Empath a private group. So you come up as Facebook user, and I so appreciate you being here. But I'm going to tell you the reason why I went live on the Developing Empath tonight, because I'm catching some flack because I keep forgetting to go to the Developing Empath and post that I'm going live tonight on Metaphysical Round Table's Facebook and YouTube page. I keep forgetting. I'm not forgetting that the Developing Empath is there. I forget to post. Because I also, honestly, I forget to post to remind people that I'm going live at 8 o'clock. And yeah, a couple of my regular viewers have been like, are you not going to tell us when can you give us a reminder of when you're going live? And I'm like, yeah. And then I forget. It's good times. Well, hello, Becky. So if you are on the Developing Empath watching, I'm so happy to see you here. I truly am. But you come up as Facebook user, so I don't know who you are. If you want to hop over to Metaphysical Round Table's Facebook page, the Beautiful Witches Facebook page, or Readings at the Round Table on YouTube, I can see you loud and clear there. And hello, Gretchen. So good to see you. So, Gretchen, are you done with the flu? Are you feeling better? I'm telling you, y'all, that flu just took forever for me to get over. And it was like the tiredness after was really, really hard for me. I was like, oh my gosh. But all the doctors and nurses I've been talking to were like, oh yeah, this strain is a killer. I'm like, no, really? I'm so much fun. Yeah. So y'all are gonna have to forgive the trash bag back here. But I had a kitty, Mercury, that I walked out of my office for about an hour and a half today, and Mercury shredded an entire roll of paper towels. Now, I was not happy about that, but I cleaned it up, and I just went ahead and started picking up a whole bunch of other stuff. And so I forgot to move the trash bag. It's unsightly, and I'm sorry, but there you have it. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you guys. Amber, Melanie, Michelle, of course, Becky, Kelsey, y'all, it's finally like run its course. I'm still coughing a little bit, but it's okay. The other thing that I need to tell you guys is I don't really know what happened with my yes, Mercury had a lot of fun. It was very disruptive. I don't know what happened with my video about the Year of the Dragon. It was scheduled to be posted on Saturday. I was at my grandmother's funeral this weekend, and I did not check to see if everything was okay. I didn't check to see if there was a problem, because I'd not had any problems with posting my stuff on YouTube. But apparently about 20 minutes after it was posted, because I did see that it was posted and everything was fine. About 20 minutes after it was posted, it was reported for some reason. And YouTube has a lot of new policies. And so it was like, at first it was just demonetized, which was fine. But then they just completely took it down. So I don't understand what's going on. I've been emailing someone back and forth So I'm just going to re-record the video about the Year of the Dragon and put it back out there. There wasn't any profanity in it. There was just me just talking about the Year of the Dragon. So, and I know there's lots of other videos out there about it, so I didn't think it was a big deal. I'm going to re-record it and put it back out there because they won't let me use the video that I've done. So I'm going to change the title slightly, still Year of the Dragon, but, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's been challenging, but it wasn't as unexpected as like one of my grandfathers. So it wasn't like, it was still, obviously painful, but we had to wait for one of my relatives to get in town. So everything was sort of, took a bit longer for it to, like, for all the plans to be put into place. And it was my aunt, so it was a pretty important person, So we all had to sort of work it out, and so we had some time to get used to it. Still wasn't easy. It really wasn't. But I appreciate you guys so much. And it's so funny because she was an Aquarius, and her birthday was last week. And she passed right before her 94th birthday. She was an amazing woman. She was a recovery room nurse. She was a recovery room nurse for like a million years, but she went back to school and got her LPN first when she was in her 40s. And then she went back to school and got additional nursing degrees when most people in her age bracket were thinking about retiring. So she was a pretty impressive lady. She was pretty impressive. But let me tell you, she was definitely, I feel like she was very, very intuitive. I mean, y'all know how I feel about Aquariuses. They are some pretty interesting creatures. I mean, really. And that Aquarius energy anyway, and having it's like she waited until Pluto went into Aquarius for her to transition. I'm like, well, she has some timing, doesn't she? So she was a very interesting woman, but she was definitely a very intuitive person. And the thing is, I think a lot of people that are in the medical profession are very intuitive. And I think that in order to be good at your job, you have to be intuitive. It's like being a mom or being a teacher. You really do have to be intuitive when you're helping other people, in any capacity, So let's get into this about the 8 Clairs. Now I have started typing this up and I'm almost done. So these should be available on my website at metaphysicalroundtable.com. If you want this PDF, it should be available on my website by tomorrow, maybe something like, I would think tomorrow, but it could be the day after. Sounds like something Fred would do today. He decided to destroy a plastic baggie with a bagel that I wanted for breakfast tomorrow. Oh my gosh, yes. Mouse is very irritated with me because y'all know, if you saw my TikTok, he's on restriction. Mouse scared the crap out of me and decided to hide from me for 3 days. So I was freaked out for 3 days going, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? And he finally showed back up and I was like, that's it, dude, you're grounded. You're not going out. So he's a little bit irritated with me, but at the same time, I think he's okay. Because he stepped outside for a second this morning and he was like, it's cold. And he came right back in and I was like, getting a little spoiled there, Mouse. I like that. But he is not allowed to go out unsupervised for at least a week because that was ridiculous. Scaring me for 3 days. He's also been trying to escape and has made it out the back door 3 times, in the garage twice last week. What is going on with these cats? Seriously, it's crazy. Okay. Let's dive in and talk about this. Gretchen, I am so glad to see you here. I'm so glad you are feeling better. I really am. Okay, so I want to start with the most important of the clairs that I think is the most important. This may not be what everybody thinks. I get that. But for me, the most important of any of the clairs is not clairvoyance, but it's clairsentience. Clairsentience. So I think that clairsentience is the most important because this is a clear sense of feeling. This is being able to detect that information, like within your body. Is that gut feeling. And you know how I was just saying that people, especially in the medical profession, need that sense of intuition. So doctors, nurses, mothers, whoever, whatever you have, like midwife, but mothers, teachers, these are really, really great with using clairsentience. I also think that clairsentience is just so important because it's more like it's more like you can pick up the vibrational energy that's in the room or with the person. It's like you can pick that up. So you can sort of feel it. Maybe you can feel it on your skin. Maybe you can feel the crackle in the air on your skin. Or maybe you just do feel it like internally. You feel that gut instinct of, we need to get on out of here, or I need to go pick them up. So that is I feel like this is the most important thing. A lot of people that are clairsentient are good at the, Gretchen does something like this. It's like visiting haunted places. Gretchen has a business that they visit haunted places. They do investigations. Yes, they do investigations. And they can feel it in the air. Here's the thing. When you get too, and again, this is just my opinion, all right? Opinions vary. When you get too solidified, too focused on clairaudient or clairvoyant, you start to lose that sense of clairsentient. You stop practicing with the clairsentient. Okay, so when some people go into haunted places, until they see something or until they hear something, they don't recognize like what's going on. And this is why I don't like doing investigations. I've done them. They're not my favorite. It's very energy draining for me. And I actually got off the keto diet because sugar grounds me very quickly. So when I am doing those kind of investigations, I eat sugar because it grounds me very quickly so that I'm not like constantly like sort of being pulled. You know what I mean? Yes. Okay. Gretchen's company is called Haint Blue Paranormal Psychic. I'll put it on I just learned how to do this. That is her thing. Okay. So, this is her, her group. I believe they're on Facebook. Is that true, Gretchen? But they do investigations, and it is really cool. But I don't like to do them because they're very, very energy draining for me. I will say one of my favorite cousins. I say like that all my cousins are my favorites, but one of my favorite cousins, she loves ghost stuff, loves it. So we go to Savannah, and she's like, "I got to take a ghost tour." Okay. I kept just like walking away because I was like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't." It was just too much. It was just too much energy. But this is feeling. You can feel the spirits nearby. You can feel the energy of what's going on. It's it's clear feeling. All right, that's what this psychic ability is. And you usually do feel it with the whole body, externally, internally. It sort of is like Clair empathy, which we're going to go into, but this is a physical sensation where Clair empathy is just like feeling the emotion, you know? Yeah. So that would be so cool to go on Savannah Ghost Tours with all of you guys, because okay, here is where you can find Gretchen's group. And Becky, I would absolutely love to go on a ghost tour. I'll tell you, I like going on ghost tours with, what happened? Okay. I like going on ghost tours with people that can also see or hear or feel, because then I feel like I'm sharing the energy and I'm not having to just like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just feeling it all. So, these people, sorry, I'm not trying to cough in your ear. Sorry. So these are people that may get chills, have those butterflies in their stomach, may have just a gut feeling. They really can tune in to not only the people in front of them, but their surroundings as well. So, and it's very interesting. So this is someone, I feel like people that are clairsentient, they are so incredibly sensitive, especially if they're listening to their gifts. And I know several of you have heard this story before, that I feel like Dr. Seuss he's very empathic and he's very, very sensitive. And I feel like he is more sensitive than I am, because I'm a little jaded and I question myself a lot. But when we were looking for houses, I had found a house that was perfect on paper. It was everything that I wanted. And we pulled up in that driveway and he was like, I don't feel good about this house. And I was like, back up, because this isn't for us. And he was like, you don't even want to see it. And I was like, I'm not going to fall in love with a house that we're not going to buy, because I can't buy a house that you feel this way about. And you need to listen to that instinct. It was a good idea. And hey, again, if you're on the Developing Empath, which I streamed to that because I forgot to post to you guys to tell you that I was going live tonight. I can only see that you're a Facebook user, but hey, I'm loving it that you're from the Developing Empath. If you want me to see your name, you'll have to go to Metaphysical Round Table's Facebook page or Readings at the Round Table YouTube page. See, Becky, I know, and I feel like we're like so in tune with each other there. Okay, so clairvoyance. Now we're getting into some of the more popular ones, right? I think everybody knows what clairvoyant is, right? This is people that professional psychics are usually clairvoyant, which they can see. It means clear seeing. It's often called the sixth sense. It relies on the spiritual third eye. They see images, colors, light, movement, pictures, and sometimes like stuff that they're just like, I didn't want to see that. Yeah. So this is sort of like the psychic vision, but I think a lot of people are taught to practice this. And I have a book by John Holland over here that tells you how to practice this, is to use your imagination. So in one of John Holland's books, how he gets people to practice not only opening up their third eye, but to practice being clairvoyant, because we all have all of these clairs in us. We do. But how he gets them to practice this is that he sits somebody in the middle of the room, and he has everybody else around them, and he has them write down stuff about that person. Just whatever they're seeing, whatever comes up. If they're seeing guides around them, if they see them doing a certain job or having a certain skill or whatever, just like anything, speaking a certain language, just bringing that in and saying, okay, this is this person. Let's practice this. Just let your imagination run wild. Just go, go, go. So when you start doing that, when you start opening yourself up to the imagination, all of a sudden things really flood into you. Like there'll be a lot of truths. There'll be a lot of accuracy that floods in. So it does, like, you can practice this, is what I'm saying. A lot of clairvoyants have very vivid dreams. They have premonitions. Now, when I don't want to dream, I leave my television on all night. I know it's not optimal. It's not good. But when I am just really, really tired and I don't want to be flooded with dreams, I leave my television on. And I usually leave it on to something funny, because I don't need any, it's not like I'm going to watch The Shining in my, while I'm trying to sleep. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thinking about The Shining because I referenced The Shining in one of these clairs. But it's not like I'm watching The Shining in this, while I'm sleeping. But what I do is I like turn on something funny, or, I fall, like, if I'm just, I can't take anymore. If I've been dreaming a lot, that's what I do. If I want to have a specific dream or some kind of guided dream, then I usually turn my phone on to a specific frequency, because there's tons of those on YouTube where you can tune into a specific frequency. You can listen to a certain sound, and it's really wonderful. And also, I have my dream jars. So I do sleep with my dream jars there. My daughter and I practice with the color game, and we guess the color the other person is thinking about. Oh my gosh, Becky, that is freaking awesome. That is freaking awesome. Yeah, red rum. Gretchen, you leave your TV on too? Okay. See, when I feel like life gets heavy sometimes, right? It does. Life gets really heavy, and we're just like, yeah. So that's when I just leave the TV on. I'm like, I can't adult today. It's not happening. So with clairvoyance, sometimes you can just see like the images in your mind. Sometimes you see, like, I see the images like usually in like corners. I'm usually focused on corners, and that's where images seem to come out of. Like when I'm reading for somebody and their guides come in. I had a new client today, and I've never spoken with her, and I saw her guides come in as I'm talking about her chart, as I'm going over her chart with her, and I'm talking about like different things in astrology and stuff that may be going on with her. And I was just like, okay, you got to tell me, like, and I start asking her these questions, and she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, why, where did that come from? And I was like, it's because somebody in your family in like the 17 or 1800s, maybe even the 1600s, was some kind of healer. And I was like, that's where this is coming from. So like, that's the kind of thing that I see. Now, did that guide walk in and say, hey, I'm a healer? No, I could feel that signature around her. And that's part of the clairsentience, because I am truly trying to go back to strengthening my clairsentience, because I see the guide come in and I'm like, let me feel what's going on around you. And you can kind of feel the signature of the healers. You can feel the signature of like a leader. You know what I'm saying? You can feel the signature of someone who cared deeply for their family or their spouse or whatever. You can feel the signature of a farmer. And I know that sounds weird because a lot of our ancestors were farmers, but you can feel the signature of it. Like, okay, I'm going to use Gretchen as as an example because she's in the chat. Gretchen's family is from like a northeastern, like in the northeast that's near the ocean. So I'll bet if I was looking at Gretchen's like guides and I was sort of like going backwards, you could get the signature of a fisherman. Do you see what I'm saying? You could get the signature of someone who was the feeling of someone that was on a boat a lot. And it's that impression. It's like a fingerprint kind of feeling. Does this make any sense to you guys? I get the words, is that clairsentient? Yes. No. If you're hearing words, Becky, if you're hearing the words, that's clairaudient. If the word just comes flowing through you, that could be clairsentient, but it also could be like clair empathy. Claire empathy. I'm gonna try to say that. And hello, Zuri and Magali and Veronica. I love it. I've been having very detailed and random dreams again lately. We need to look at your chart again. I did a game with friends where you count to 3 and say the first word that comes to mind. And the guy and I who went against each other both said watermelon. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. See, again, it really is practice. I feel like we all come into this life, into this world psychic. All of us. We get this shit drummed out of us by society and by the fact that for, I don't know, 400 or 500 years that they've burned people at the stake for knowing that shit. You know, no. So we all come in here psychic. We all come in here knowing, but we get it drummed out of us. This is something that we have to practice in order to truly get better at or rediscover these talents. And it's like a muscle. We just have to practice it. So again, with clairvoyance, a lot of people call this psychic vision. You may be able to see auras, like energy fields or colors around people or plants. You can even see the energy color around like establishments. Okay. People that are naturally clairvoyant are usually really good at, or they enjoy things like that require seeing, painting, some kind of designer, photographers, builders even, because they're really good at seeing the potential, at seeing the image of what they're trying to create. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Moving right along. Now, this is another one that I personally I'm doing my personal top 3 first. I'm just letting you know. So, my next one is clairaudience. Now, I'm going to tell you that in order how my skills like worked with me was clairsentience, clairaudience, and then clairvoyance. And honestly, I thought the clairvoyance would go away when I wasn't pregnant anymore. And I was wrong. Because that kid's about to turn 10 and it ain't left yet. The clairaudience I've had for quite a while. Like 15, 20 years, because I took some classes that helped me open that up. But the clairsentience is what was really, really important. And I still think that for everybody, that should be the most important thing. My skills come out of me like word vomit sometimes, and I don't even know where they come from. Yes, it's not a thought just blurted out and it turns out to be true. Yes, yes. We do need to take a test to see which Clair we are. That would be very interesting. I would like to see that. Okay. I really would. I'm not kidding. I'm sure there's tests like online that you can take. Okay, Gretchen. Gretchen says, for those of you on YouTube, she says, I was clairaudient first. I would say it's my comfort zone, Clair. Yes. Okay. I'm like that too. I am more comfortable with hearing. But Gretchen, I would lay money on the fact that you were clairsentient before you were clairaudient. I would almost lay money on like that we are all like clairsentient like first, because once we get out of childhood, that's the one that we become most comfortable with, right? It's just going, I don't feel good about this. You know, that's the one that we become most comfortable with. But yes, Gretchen, I totally understand, because like hearing is it is absolutely a comfort zone, Claire, and I love how you put that. It's so appropriate. Because still sometimes when I see stuff, it scares the pee out of me. And I'm like, oh, what is that? What's going on here? And when they get too close to me, I'm going to be real honest with you. Even when some of my guides get too close to me, I'm like, I'm going to need you to back up. There's one of my guides that she has to stay far away from me. And it's just because she did a little thing where she came in and I did not like that, and it freaked me out. And she's done that a couple of times, and now I'm just like, I'm gonna ask you to keep your distance. And I like her, and she's real interesting, and she's a real neat guide, and she's really, really wise. But it's still like there's a lot of fear in me, and that creeps me out. So she and I keep our distance, but she's still here. We just got to keep a little, I just need a little space, you know? That's cool. I think the audience was so tangible, I couldn't ignore it. Yes. Maybe they were trying to get your attention more, you know? Maybe the clairaudient was where they were like, we can't get her attention anymore. We're going to have to just yell it right there. You know, we're going to have to get it into her so she hears us. I see the Fae and they don't look like we do at all, and it can be scary sometimes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Becky. That is perfect. Sometimes spirits, and especially the Fae, do not look like the posters that we have on our walls or the note cards that we send each other. They don't look like that. And they will, again, scare the crap out of you. The first entity that I ever saw was Archangel Michael. And do you know what I said? I was like, oh, you look just like I always pictured you would. And he was like, no, I'm coming to you that way because otherwise it would freak you out. Yeah, because this girl gets freaked out real easy. And I am not ashamed to admit it anymore. I was ashamed to admit it for many years, but yeah, no. I'm okay with saying that's scary as hell. I'm going to stay back from that. There's a lot of things that scare me, and I have no problem like getting with that. There's a lot of things like on the planet that I'm just like, okay, that seems a little scary, but I've seen a lot of spirit stuff and I'm like, no, that's scary. This here, not so scary. I'm good. I'm okay. Think I'm glad I don't see things anymore. I had an imaginary friend as I was a kid. Okay, I want to know how many people in this chat, Facebook, I'm on 3 Facebook pages and a YouTube page. How many of you had an imaginary friend as a kid? Yeah, I am a firm believer that the imaginary friends when you were kids were spirit guides. Firm believer. Okay. So I think that the imaginary friends when you were a kid, spirit guides, 100%. If you had an imaginary friend when you were a kid, you probably won't have a hard time developing or reacquainting yourself with any of these clairs. Becky says she did it, but she talked to someone in the mirror. Yeah, the t-shirt that I was gonna wear when the cat got his muddy footprints all over it said mirror, mirror on the wall, you know, from Snow White. Lady, that was a spirit guide. I don't remember its name. I should ask my grandma. You should. Mine's name was Melody. Not Melanie, Melody. Interesting. I write contracts with my guides. I don't want to feel anyone's death or suffering. That's in my contract. My contracts have both my expectations and boundaries and my obligations and responsibilities. I revisit them at least twice a year. Oh my gosh. Okay, y'all, that's from Gretchen. She's on Facebook. That is so important. Writing contracts with your guides. That was what I had for a long time. I said, I don't want to see any spirits or anything that doesn't have to do with the person that is like that I'm reading for. Most of my clients in Denver were face to face. 90% of my clients in Denver were face to face. 90% of my clients here in Georgia have always been over the phone or now through Zoom or whatever. So I told my clients about 11 years ago, I was like, I don't want to see anybody unless it's for the person that I'm reading for. Their angels or their guides. I don't want to see anybody. Turns out I was outgrowing that part of my contract and I didn't want to open myself up to that. And they started gradually opening it up to me until I didn't realize like it was that open. But what they were doing, Gretchen, is they were helping me overcome my fear like a little bit at a time. But yes, I do have a contract with them. I understand that. Becky says it turns out it was me looking back at myself now. Oh my gosh, you were talking to like your higher self or your older self. I love that. I love that. Michelle, I've literally seen a few family members since they've passed, but I can't seem to now. Okay. Don't worry about that because just as you change and grow, Michelle, they also are evolving. So here's the thing. Usually I don't see people that have freshly crossed over. If somebody comes to me and says, my, husband, child, wife, grandmother, third cousin, whatever, passed away last week, I want to know if they're okay. I want to see if they're okay. Who comes into me is usually the person that came in to get them. The person the spirit that they felt comfortable with that comes in to get them. Sometimes those people are still freaking out and they can't adjust to crossing over and they get stuck. So that's when we call in Archangel Azrael to help them cross over. We call in Archangel Azrael to invite someone in for them so that they can cross over. But it's challenging because once they cross over, they have to clear things, because not all of us lead pristine lives here. And oh my gosh, I'm the worst. I am. I mean, I was hateful yesterday, like several times. I'm still dealing with some backlash, grief, whatever. But I've not been the most pleasant person to be around. You know, if people irritate me, or if they're just doing stuff that I'm like, are you serious? Like, what's going on here? So it's challenging, and I'm trying to be nice, but I'm going to pay for that. I know I am. I'm going to pay for the fact that I'm like, okay, let's call it a reformed fun girl. You know, just a little slutty in my teens and 20s. I don't know. I mean, those kind of things I'm going to pay for. So when I transition, if I haven't already like paid my dues, so to speak, here in the physical, I'm going to have to do something there. And it may be that I'm helping someone else get through those things that I'm related to. Because there are times that we have guides that come into us, and that's part of what they're healing, is that they're going, okay, in order for you to like get through your karma, you're going to have to help them get through this problem. You're going to have to help them get through this issue. And a lot of times guides are here to help us do something on that level. So Michelle, just because you may not see them the same, and I will tell you, one of my grandmothers has been with me for a long time. She passed in 2005. And she's been with me for a long time. She's been very encouraging, but I have not seen her except for maybe 2 or 3 times since my youngest son was born. When my youngest son was born, I accidentally had him at home, and I don't recommend that. Okay. I accidentally had him at home. Luckily, my mom is she was a labor and delivery nurse for many, many years, but she's a nurse. And so she and a fireman delivered my son. We didn't quite make it out of the driveway. So that was the last time I saw my grandmother. She kissed me on the forehead, and my mom said, "He's here." And since then, I feel her energy. I'll feel her. When she's really trying to get my attention, she'll bring in cigarette smoke, and I'll smell that. But I don't see her like I used to. My husband's grandfather, I still see him. And he's been like, he's been all over the place at our house. So it's very interesting. So don't worry about that, Michelle, because we are all evolving, including spirit. Okay. So I do miss seeing my grandmother, the one that passed away in 2005, not the one that just passed away, but I do miss seeing her. But I know she's here because she'll send me messages. It's just that I think another guide has come in to sort of, again, push me forward, to sort of push me out of my comfort zone. I'm stealing from Gretchen, to push me out of my comfort zone in some places. Well, hello, Heather. Oh my gosh, how are you doing, Kathleen? It's so good to see you. And so Kelsey's on YouTube. She says, my nephew had an imaginary friend and is an old soul. He's 7. Yeah. And that's usually about the time that people start telling us that we're not seeing something, or we're not doing something, So my friend Kathleen is here. She says her son Cyprian is with her all the time. She's on YouTube. And yes, her son Cyprian, um, it was like he took the place of someone else, because it was like I feel like he knew it was his time, and he took the place of someone else, but he doesn't want to leave his mother. So he's still coming and like making sure that she's okay, making sure that she knows that he's around. I love that. I love it, Kathleen. Kelsey says, my best friend delivered her last baby in their vehicle 3 blocks from the hospital. Seriously? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't recommend it. No. I'm not like I'm not saying that Western medicine is the grandest thing, because I don't feel that way at all. But let me tell you, when this Virgo like started going into labor, I was like, yeah, you can bring me those drugs. Bring them on. I'm not proud. But like I said, the second one, I didn't get an opportunity to do that. I recently realized his son's sun is my moon. Oh, that's really good, Kathleen. That's awesome. Um, Becky says she couldn't have imagined not having an epidural. And let me tell y'all, Becky, she's Gypsy Soul Surfer, and she has a wonderful group on YouTube. It is called Gypsy Soul Surfer, and it's awesome. It's very healing. She does these incredible mandalas, but she also makes like a lot of homemade stuff. I've used some of her tinctures. She makes homemade deodorant, homemade toothpaste. She does some awesome stuff. And she is saying, I could not have imagined not having an epidural. Oh my gosh. Seriously, because those contractions started coming in, and I was like, excuse me. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. I gave it a shot. You just go get those drugs and come on back. And it was good that I did, because I ended up having a C-section with the first one. And then the second one was like, surprise, I'm not waiting. He was such a delight. He is still. He's a double Virgo. Like one person that's in this chat, she is also a double Virgo. She just has a Taurus sun. I mean, it's something about those double Virgos. They're not going to wait. I know. So anyway, back to the Clairs. So the Clair audience is definitely clear hearing. We like sort of covered that, but a lot of people will like hear the voice. They will hear actual words, not feel the words, but they will hear it. And I have heard it like, go this way, do this. And I honestly will argue with the words sometimes. It's not the best thing, and I don't recommend arguing with your spirit guides, but what can I say? I have a Capricorn rising. I'm argumentative. So this is definitely something that a lot of people who are good at channeling, or who can like, again, hear or identify sounds that other people can't hear. And definitely it's coming from the spirit realm. This is people that can understand the depth and the meaning of like that message, those words that are coming in. Let's see. They're usually good at picking up on people telepathically, and they are usually good at being some sort of musician or loving music. They're good at being a public speaker or writer of some kind, or a poet. Oh my gosh. Do we even have poets anymore? I love that. I love it. I'm all about natural healing, but not for that. Oh my gosh. Yes. Becky she's saying she's on YouTube, and she's saying she's all about the natural healing, but not for childbirth. Yeah. I've heard what I think were fairies having conversations and not aware that I could hear them. Yes. You will hear like other spirits, other people communicating. One lady that I used to work with, like, she felt like she could hear, like, I don't want to say aliens, I want to say beings from other planes. She felt like she could hear them and understand what they were saying. I get that. Apparently, communication is my spiritual gift. That does not surprise me, Kelsey. It doesn't. Oh my gosh, that's right. Gretchen learned Morse code. Gretchen and her husband learned Morse code. That is so freaking incredible. And that is an amazing thing. Of people that are clairaudient would definitely want to learn, like, that's a language. I feel like Morse code is more than just like communication. It's a language. Because I saw some of those little things. I was like, oh, that is confusing. Okay. I'm going to fly through these others because I am not negating their importance. Okay. But I feel like the first three that I covered, very important. Okay. Now we're going again in sort of an order that I think is, it's just it's my interpretation, okay, of importance. So claircognizance, it's very similar to, it's a little similar to clairsentient, but claircognizance is just knowing. Claircognizance is just knowing. So it's clear knowing, okay? It saying a person knows something without any logical explanation. They don't necessarily see anything, they don't necessarily hear anything, they just know it. So when my kids were really little, neither one of them talked when they were like young. And the doctors were just like, I mean, made my oldest one go through this barrage of tests because they were like, something's wrong. He's not talking. And they're like, how does he ask for food? And I was just like, I just fix him food. So when I was telling a lady that I worked with, when I told her that, she goes, no, he is telepathically telling you that he's ready for a sandwich or that he wants something to drink, and you're just getting up and getting it for him. And I was like, oh shit, I am. That's exactly what I was doing. He was sending me that message and I was just doing it. It's kind of like that. But people may not realize that they're sending you the message or that you're picking it up. Do you see what I'm saying? That you just know and you have to just go do it. Okay. Kelsey says, that's me. My nephew and I both know random stuff that we have no idea how. Yes. You're just like, I don't know how I knew that. The Becky says, I know things that I can't explain too. Yes. That is definitely claircognizance. It is definitely saying, okay, I just know where this is. I just know like what's going on. I've had clients that have gone to other countries, that have visited these other places, that have done things, and they're just like, I told the tour guide this had happened. And the tour guide was like, yeah, but I haven't gone over that part yet. Or, yeah, but we don't put that on the tour anymore because it's sad or it's whatever, And she was like, how did I know that? And I was like, you've probably been there before in a past life. So clear or psychic knowing and is receiving wisdom and information in the form of ideas, concepts, and thoughts that just suddenly come to your mind, and you're just like, I don't know how I know this, but this is what we need to do, or this is how we need to do it, or that's why that's there. It's very interesting. And this like clairsentience is very much having faith that you know what you're feeling or what you know is right. You have to have faith that what you know or what you feel is correct. And it is like that with clairaudience too. You have to have a lot of faith there that what you're hearing is the right thing. And I always ask with any of these clairs, I always ask, is this coming to me from spirit, or is this coming from me, like from the ego? Which one is it? That's a very important thing to separate. So someone did say that having a claircognizant was like having information just downloaded into your mind. That's how they compared it. And I really liked that. So I wrote it down. That it may come through like a strong gut feeling, or again, it just may be that you're picking up on what someone else is thinking, or someone else is feeling, or what you've known in like a past life. A great job for people that are claircognizant is philosophers, religious and spiritual leaders, professors and scientists, or anybody that is like trying to create something, anybody that is trying to like maneuver through new channels. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Chelsea wants me to remind you that she has an imaginary friend named Casper. I love that. Okay, so this is perfect for the developing empath group. Clair empathy is a clear sense of knowing emotional feelings, being able to detect like clear emotions coming off of people. They're usually like really good at picking up that spiritual, people that are fighting a lot of addictions, they're fighting a lot of internal demons, they're feeling a lot of grief, they're feeling a lot of heaviness, like those things. It's really hard for these people to live near churches. And I say that as someone that lives across the street from a church. When I see a hearse drive up to that church, I immediately go get in my garden, because I go to a funeral and I break down, not just because of, yes, it's sad, but I break down because I feel the grief coming from everybody around me. It was a little different at my grandmother's funeral because, to be honest with you, there were so many people at my grandmother's funeral that were irritated. And I thought it was just me, but I did not like the minister. I've never really cared for him. And I've met him probably 30 times, and he acted like he couldn't remember my name. Seriously? I mean, I know I'm not like somebody that just stands out in the crowd, but I've met you. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've had conversations. And so don't really care for that man. He was very odd at my grandmother's funeral. And there was a lot of people that were irritated with him. And I could feel that, like, while we were there. But I have a hard time at funerals, and honestly, sometimes weddings. There's a lot of people, strangely enough, there's usually a lot of people who are sad at that wedding for some reason. I mean, it's so interesting to me. Kelsey, yes. And sometimes I can block them out to a point. Kelsey on YouTube says she's learned to block out emotions. I can block them out to a point. But sometimes they just flood in and I'm like, and then it's out. Yeah. Gretchen is on Facebook and she says, oh, you stand out in a good way. Well, clearly not to a Baptist minister in a small town. I mean, maybe he's seen my YouTube channel. I don't know. Sorry. But Clair empathy is usually being able to pull psychic information from emotions that are going on around you and the people around you. Okay. I will say that people that work with animals a lot can pick up when their animals aren't feeling good because of that, because they're so in tune to their animals. And we all know, I mean, I don't know any animals that can speak. I mean, mine, it's a little different, but none of mine actually talk to me. They give me looks, and I know what they're trying to say. I know what they're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say. But at the same time, people that work with animals a lot do a lot of the Clair empathy because they can feel it coming off of the animals. Okay, so Clair tangency. This is also called psychometry. All right. So this is why I didn't, I think it's important. I do. I'm on the fence about considering it a Clair, to be honest with you. But Clair tangency is psychometry. It's touching something. It's touching something and being able to receive the information through touch. So Jeff Goldblum was in a movie, I think it was in the 80s, with Cyndi Lauper, and I think it was called Vibes. It was a cute movie, by the way. It was really cute. But Jeff Goldblum's gift was psychometry, and he could touch things and know what had gone on. So that's how he found out his girlfriend was cheating on him, because he touched her underwear. Wouldn't that be fantastic? So, that was a really interesting thing. The other one was in Charmed. Phoebe could touch things and she could get like a premonition. So that's clairtangency. It's psychometry. Okay. So if you hear that, it's people being able to touch an object or a person and get information. So sometimes when you go see a psychic, they want to touch your hands. That's what they're doing. When you go see a medium or a psychic, they want to touch your hands. I don't want to do that. I don't know if it's, again, a fear of mine, but I don't, because I feel like if you touch that person, you're going to get a flood of information. Just my opinion. And if any of you are really good at psychometry, I'm interested in it, but I don't know that I want to be there. But that is I think it's still very interesting. Okay. The last two is clairsalience, which is the sense of smell, and clairgustance, which is the sense of taste. Now, again, I'm not discounting these as being clairs, okay? I'm not. Because I just told you, I smell, and I hate cigarette smoke. I hate cigarette smoke, by the way. But I smell my grandmother's cigarette smoke when she's trying to get my attention. I smell it. I smell my grandfather's aqua velva. Does anybody remember that aftershave? I mean, come on. So those are things that I smell, and I know that they're around. Okay. Okay, I'm missing comments. I've tried that once with someone else's items, and it was kind of but I do get that with rocks and trees and get messages that way. This is a really good point. Okay, so Becky is on YouTube, and she says that it's easier for her to get messages from rocks and trees. Now, that is a really important point, because the rocks and the trees, to me, that would be a lot safer than picking up somebody's keys or picking up their cell phone and going, oh, is that what kind of person you are? You know, or touching like their bracelet or or touching their hands. I don't think that I would want to do that. Going outside and touching a tree, touching a wild animal, oh yeah, I'm in. Touching the ground or or like rocks or something in the area, this is where I would really love, and I know you can't do it anymore, I would really love to go to Stonehenge and touch those, those big boulders, but you can't do that anymore. You can't go up and touch them. But there are some other places, especially in Ireland or in Italy and France, that I would really, really love to go and touch, like, those things, those monuments or whatever, and see like what comes out. I don't, because it's like sensory overload. Yes, Kathleen says that it's like sensory overload for her. Gretchen is on Facebook. It says the psychic Tyler Henry does a lot as to hold items from past loved ones. Wow. I've got to watch his stuff. That would be interesting. Kelsey says she has a super sniffer. She's on YouTube. She says, my dad smelled smoke the day a relative passed away. And Becky says, don't touch any raccoons, Jennifer. No, I'm not. Okay, I love this because Becky did go to the Georgia Guidestones before they got blown up, and she was there and she touched those. Very interesting. I still regret not being able to make that trip with you, Becky. But clairsalience is definitely the sense of smell. It's something that comes in directly to the nose. Now, I will say that when I was looking, like making sure that I had all the information correct, because I love to do research, people. Clairsalience was also called clairsentience. Not to be confused with clairsentience, which is spelled S-E-N-T-I. It's spelled S-E-N-T-I-E-N-C-E. Some websites spelled clairsentience as S-E-N-T-A-N-C. I mean, it's really confusing. So I went with clairsalience. Because I felt like to me, it just sounded like more of like nose. I don't know why. So again, people that have the clear sense of smell, they can smell foods or perfume or cigarette smoke. When there's not a physical presence of the substance. The reason why I brought this up earlier about The Shining is because Dick Halloran in The Shining could smell oranges before something bad happened. Yeah, so that's fun. These are definitely less common. The clairgustance, where it's the sense of taste, being able to detect information with the sense of taste, that they can pick up what's going on with the person that cooked it, or even through the spirit realm, that they can pick up information through the sense of taste. Now, the clear or psychic sense of taste and smelling are a little less common because I don't think people resonate with them as much. I still smell stuff all the time, like my grandparents. And sometimes I'll say that out loud. I'll go, I smell this. I smell this. And someone will look at me and go, that's like my blah, blah, blah. Or my house used to smell like that. Or this used to happen or whatever. It's a very interesting, it's very interesting. But some people don't resonate with these as much because they don't relate it to necessarily some of their life experiences. And I feel like that's the important thing about the clairs, is that it has to relate to something that you can categorize it in a way and that you can relate it to a life experience. Well, hey, May. The Great Wall of China was amazing. Literally went back in time. Kathleen, that is really cool. Okay, Kathleen's on YouTube, and she got to touch the Great Wall of China, and she literally went back in time. I love that. And Gypsy Soul Surfer, I'd like to think I had a hand in it. Hilarious. And Gretchen. Oh, Gretchen, this is so great. I get a chemical or metallic taste when someone is on chemo. Okay, so Gretchen's on Facebook, you guys. And Gretchen is definitely, she is definitely a psychic. She's done readings for me. It's incredible. And she is the one that I had plugged up here earlier, that her group does paranormal investigations. And she says she gets a chemical or metallic taste in her mouth when someone is on chemo. That makes perfect sense. That is a perfect example of clairgustance. That is a perfect example of that. I love that. And you know what? That would make sense. If you're talking to someone and you're like, okay, if you say, okay, this is my symbol for someone on chemo, I'm getting a chemical or metallic taste in my mouth. This is my symbol for someone that's on chemo. Can you help me out with that? Do you know someone that's on chemo or was on chemo? Can you tell me that? That's how I address things. When I smell something specific and I'm in a reading with a client, I will say, do you know someone who wore this perfume, smoked cigarettes, or like had this scent or whatever? I'll say, do you know someone that had that? And that's a great illustration of clairsalience and clairgustance. This is very interesting. I love that. So it is really cool stuff. A lot of notes here. It is really cool stuff, and I think, again, I don't discount any of these clairs. I think it's whatever resonates with you the most. For me, and this is just my opinion, this is not a contagious opinion, okay? So you put these in categories that you understand or that means more to you. For me, the most important of the clairs is clairsentience. It truly is 100%. I think that clairsentience is so important because all of us should be able to walk into a room and know when we're safe or when we're not. Or to be around people and know I shouldn't be here or I should be here. So I have a lot of friends that are out in the dating world, and they have literally met people that they've just been like, no. For no apparent reason. They're just like, no, I'm not meeting this person again. And they don't have to have a reason. It's just that clairsentience or claircognizance. However you want to delineate that in your head, I think that is just very, very important. It does take faith to listen to your clairsentience, your claircognizance, and your clairaudience, to be honest. Well, and your clairempathy. The clairvoyance, when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I believe it. But I will say it's so easy for me to read members of my family and see things that are going to happen so much easier than to see the past. I know that sounds crazy, but I can look at them and I know because I know a lot of my family's past. So it's hard for me to see that, but I see them and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Somebody's going to have a baby, or, this is going to happen. It may take a couple of years, but it's stuff that comes in. It's just kind of interesting. I've been working on listening to my guy. Yeah. And you have to I like how Gretchen said earlier on Facebook that she has a contract with her guides. I think everyone should have a contract with their guides, with their angels, and just say, okay, this is what, here's my boundaries. But I want you to know too, they don't want you to stay stagnant with your gifts. They want you to grow. They do want you to grow. They're not trying to scare you. They don't want to scare you too much, but they do want you to grow. So just try talking to them more. Do what Becky used to do and talk to them in the mirror. And there's a lot of you out there that do the same thing that I do. Do you have imaginary arguments with people that you're really mad at? Because you don't want to go on the attack. You don't want to go after them, but you got to get it out. So you have imaginary arguments with those people. Talk to your guides like you have the imaginary arguments. And start practicing. Start practicing start practicing using these gifts. Start practicing just just open your imagination up and start writing down oh, this person, does this, or this person does this, or, just start writing things down. And then if it's a coworker or if it's a friend of yours, just ask them, just be like, have you ever done this? Or are you thinking about this at all? It's good. All right, you guys. I thank you so much for being here with me today. I want to talk some more about astrology next week, if you guys are okay with that. Because frankly, I'm discovering a lot of things that I think people should be aware of, with some of the transits and some of the things that are happening. And I want you guys to take a look at your chart and just say, okay, this is what's going on. Oh my gosh. Okay. So if you are on the Developing Empath Facebook group, I'm streaming there tonight because I forgot to post to you guys again. I barely remembered to post on Metaphysical Round Table's Facebook page and the YouTube and Instagram. I I forgot to post to tell y'all that I was going live tonight. So I decided just to stream in, but because I made the group private, all I can see is Facebook user when y'all come up from the Developing Empath. So I'm so glad y'all are here. And yes, better late than never. You are freaking awesome for being here. So I appreciate you 100%. But y'all, this show, now that I'm out of the flu, this show is Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So anytime, just jump in. I usually will post when I have to cancel because of, the kids or whatever. But definitely I'm here on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. I would really like to do some astrology next week, unless you guys have unless y'all have another topic that you really want me to talk about. I just keep finding things with astrology that I'm just like, it's small things that I feel like everyone could pick up about their chart and start learning some of the transits. Maybe just one transit at a time. But I really would like to talk about the North Node and Saturn, because there is a Saturn North Node conjunction coming up in 2025. And I do want to talk about that more. So I think that it's really important. And I want to talk about how Saturn plays with some of the other things that we've got going on. Saturn is currently in Pisces, which is super fun for all of these emotional creatures out there. So Saturn is currently in Pisces. The North Node is currently in Aries, and this is it's. I just think that it's really important. I do. And looking at the placements in your chart are even more important, because it's not about predicting. It's about mapping things out and saying, okay, So if my Saturn is in this, we can sort of like roll through it. We can kind of like say, all right, Saturn is going to hit my natal moon, or it's going to hit my midheaven, or it's going to do this. I want you guys to be aware of those things so that you can look at it and you can map it out. And maybe you can be prepared for some bigger changes. Just for fun. All right. This is awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I something just happened with my chat. It just went like haywire, and I'm seeing a lot of the old I'm seeing a lot of the old chat things. I don't know what just happened. All except Facebook group. No, I want to see all of them. Okay. Anyway, Gretchen, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I so appreciate you. I went a little bit over tonight, but I appreciate y'all sticking it out with me. I do. I just love it. I am re-recording the Year of the Dragon video. I don't know why it was taken off of YouTube. It apparently was only on there for about 20 minutes. So, and then it was like demonetized, and then it was just completely like removed. It was set to private, and I didn't do it. So I've been emailing back and forth with YouTube, just trying to figure out what's going on. But I'm going to re-record it, and I'm just going to change just like a little bit of stuff, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm still so excited. The Year of the Dragon. I mean, y'all, the dragons are the keepers of the gold and the wisdom. And this is a 44-8 year. This is prosperity. Get out there and really create what you want for your year. We're still in February. We still got lots of time. So get out there. Start creating. It's going to be great. All right, you guys. Thank you again for joining me. Don't forget, I will have the 8 Clairs up on my website. You can pull down that PDF on my website probably tomorrow, the latest the day after. I'll just finish typing up what I haven't typed up. I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night. And don't forget, get out there and make your magic. Bye, y'all.